should I wait? Or
No.
No. Okay, thank you everyone. Welcome to the meeting of Oswestry Town Council on the 12th of June 2024. Just before we start the business of the meeting, I just would like to say how sorry I was to hear of Richard Beeman's passing. He was a freeman of Oswestry, a well-respected former police officer, and very active in sporting and charity organisations throughout his life, a true pillar of the community who will be greatly missed by all who knew him. And so I would just like to propose that we hold a minute's silence in his memory. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll move on, but I'm sure details of his funeral will be announced in due course, and it would be good if representation from the council was possible. So item 1 is public participation, an opportunity for members of the public to make representations to the Town Council on matters on the agenda or of public interest. We have a member of the public here, 2 members of the public here. Would anyone like to speak this evening? Thank you. Yeah, I think Helen's making a microphone available to you if you could.
I don't mind by passing it too close. My voice will quite easily project into the microphone.
That's it.
May I stand?
Yeah, if you could just come forward so that the mic does pick you up for the purposes of the recording. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for inviting me here this evening. Just to introduce myself quickly, I'm Chloe Yeomans and I'm the founder of Open Space Studios. We are a creative art and wellness studio made up of 3 dance studios, a nice big large reception area and an office space / treatment room. I'm not going to bore you because this is a little bit of a long, tedious story that I'm going to try and make short and choppy. But I'm here for your support based on the fact that through an 8-year process of a community asset transfer has just today been declined. Which means moving forward that my only option presented by Shropshire Council would be to only have a full commercial rent to that building with no subsidies or peppercorn options available at all, which creates a position in the CIC, which is a non-for-profit organisation, where we would not be able to afford to stay in the building as it stands. I've been in that building for 5 years. The 5-year lease has just come to an end. The 5-year lease was set up as a commercial lease on the basis that throughout the time there, all that was needed was to prove that I could sustain the business to then say, okay, asset transfer. During that time, the whole asset transfer team has rotated. The whole asset transfer process has changed, meaning that the boxes needed to be ticked. I cannot tick those boxes. My organisation is too small, and there's no means for adapting to me from what the communications are said by the council. It's you can't provide this. That's a no. So I'm seeking for support to help me to persuade Shropshire Council to just keep our lease as it is. Our lease is a commercial lease, but they have honoured us with a 50% rent reduction based on the fact that we do community-led services. They will not take into account hire in the building for any non-commercial businesses, self-employed groups, so no dance groups, no cheerleading groups, youth groups, because the owners of those organisations are self-employed. They are not casks, they're not CICs, they're not charities. So again, that's a huge community area that's misunderstood by the council because they don't accept that. But we do a lot of work under our own Open Space Studios name, which is disability classes, classes for mental health, classes for young people, events in the community. So they said, okay, we won't class any hire of the building or anything like that, but we will take your services into account. We'll give you 50% off. And ideally, the process of the CAT was supposed to be 100% peppercorn on the base that we look after the building and do it at. We agreed on the 50% and we survived one of the toughest times in history, which was lockdown, and we've continued to thrive and provide hundreds of hours of community services for the town. We've done a mass array of youth summer holiday clubs under the HAF, and the list goes on. We did Notting Street Wellness Festival back in 2021, which was a huge success. We've also done up the building massively with over £50,000 worth of external funding, and we've completely fitted out that building into a fit-for-purpose community asset, which will be a huge loss to the community and to myself with all the effort and financial push that we've put into that building. So I would just like a bit of support to say, look, this is what our town's got, this is what we want to keep, and can we keep it as it is because it's working and it's working well, and if we can't, well, I don't want to think about that one. Thank you, guys. Yeah.
I'd like to move that we suspend standing orders so we can consider this issue and write back to Shropshire Council. So first of all, we would need to suspend standing orders to do that.
Do I have a seconder for that proposal?
Yes, thank you.
All in favour? Okay. Any against? Any abstentions? That's carried then.
But, I mean, this is news that's only come around in the last couple of days. I was notified as a local member only yesterday, which is why I invited Chloe to come and update us. It's a very, very tragic situation because the lease expires in October, so there's not long to go. It's been a hugely valuable service. I know many people who have used it in Oswestry, and I think it's amazing. Your vision, Chloe, in bringing this forward, I know it's supported by Councillor Vince Huntley, who was a member of this council. So it's been a huge effort to get it to where it is today. It would be a real tragedy if it was lost. I've looked at some of the requirements and they do seem excessive for a small organisation. They seem to be written for much larger organisations around audits and other issues like that. What I'm asking for is us to write to Shropshire Council asking that a further 6-month extension is given to the lease on the current terms, so the current 50% reduction, to enable us to try and help Chloe and work with other people like to be a better fishbowl man and try to see what we can do to try and see if we can get this back on track for a community asset transfer. And frankly, they won't transfer it to you, whether they will transfer it to the town council. And we can run it that, we can run it that way. It would be, it really is cutting off your nose to spite your face to lose this asset and to have all those extra demands that would result from the loss of that. So that's my motion.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for that, first of all? Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak? Should we go for a straightforward vote on that then? Would you like to say anything?
I was going to say probably not favourably. I just think from a Shropshire Council point of view, this kind of follows a bit of a pattern where they get tenants in with, you know, reduced rents, with expectations of the tenants then plough in a lot of financial contribution to bring the buildings up to a respectable level, and then they go, actually, no, you can't have it anymore. And as a result, they end up with a nicely renovated property that they can do. And it just, as I say, it's probably the nicest thing I could say.
Thank you then. If no one else wishes to raise, then I will move to the vote on Councillor Kerr's motion. All in favour? Any against? Abstentions? No, that's unanimous then.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chloe. Thanks for coming in. Okay. You can stay if you wish, but oh, okay, yeah.
So thank you very much.
Bye-bye. Right, thank you very much. Does anyone else wish to speak from the public or press? No? No indication on of any of our viewers online, no?
Just check whether anybody online wishes to speak. They can hear us okay.
Take that as a no. Right, item 2A, apologies for absence, please.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Got apologies for absence from Councillor Moore, Councillor Milner and Councillor Maguire.
Thank you. Move we note those. All in favour? Thank you. 2B, disclosures of interest. I'll go round to my left. Any interest on matters on the agenda? No, thank you. Item 3 then, are the minutes attached. The annual town meeting on the 29th of April and council on the 15th of May. Councillor Upton? Thank you. I'll second that. All in favour? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Right. Item 4, the minutes of the Planning Committee held on 15th of May, previously provided. Councillor Upton? Okay, I'll second. Without any other comments, all in favour? Thank you. Any against? Abstentions? No, thank you. Item 5 is the future Oswestry Group. To note the attached draft minutes there, Appendix A, held on the 8th of February. Councillor Upton? Thank you. All in favour? Thank you very much. Item 6, answering any questions in accordance with standing orders upon which formal notice has been given.
No questions, Mr Mayor.
No questions. Item 7 then, Oswestry Town Council Statement of Annual Governance. There's a report attached from the Finance Officer, thank you very much, to receive and adopt this document. Does anyone wish to speak, ask any questions? Councillor Kerr.
Can I introduce it? Apologies,
Oh,
just
yeah.
from my notes. Yeah. So what we're asking you to do here is to confirm that the council is operating within an effective corporate governance framework. We have to do this formally before signing off the annual governance statement and statement of accounts, as you'll see afterwards. I think the award that we received at last meeting, the local council award, should give you a little bit of reassurance that we are operating within the standards and that they are in place. And I think this council, and it's important to recognise this, has always operated within a strong framework of budgeting, risk management and audit. And this year they've been further strengthened by improvements. We've improved our project management and we've improved our procurement processes. I think we continually strive to improve practices. We demonstrated this furthermore by achieving the Cyber Essential Standards, the industry standards for IT security, which not many organisations have achieved. I'm proud and pleased to be able to recommend you adopting this statement this evening, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Yeah, good warm words, and thank you for preparing the documentation. Would anyone wish to speak on these? No? In that case, I'll move that we adopt. All in favour? Thank you. Do I need to sign that one now? Right. Next item is the annual return and final accounts. Report attached. Are we on that one now?
Yeah, so
Yeah, item 8.
if you're okay with me introducing this one again, although I'm very grateful for the work that Helen has done. This is the first annual return you've had without Roger being in the seat, so I'm really pleased that Helen's here this evening as well. I recognise this is a slightly tricky one for members. because what we're asking you to do is sign an annual return and annual accounts, and they're structured in a way which isn't necessarily accessible to you. Some of the accounting terms are a little bit difficult to understand. But the return has been audited and had a clean bill of health. I'm also pleased with the work that Helen's done to align and automate the processes through our IT system. So there's been quite a lot of work behind the scenes in getting everything aligned. So difficult first year, should be easy next year, Helen. Yeah. But so the summary here is that we're in a strong financial position. You've got balances of 4.5 million at year end, which includes capital receipt of 2.5 million. Income has been up this year significantly, and expenditure very similar to last year. The variant, and I need to explain this, has been staffing costs. The pay award and the pension strain contributions together with some staff sicknesses have increased staffing costs significantly this year. But what is clear is that the council, and I hope this is clear in this report, has delivered for the people of Oswestry this year. I'm pleased again to be recommendation adopting. Thank you to Helen and colleagues. Again, we are a big business. You know, we're a parish council, but this is big business, and there's a lot of transactions. If there are questions, it's going to be quite difficult for us to go into any detail. Helen has offered her support if anybody does have anything to ask. We'll be asking the mayor to sign again. The next stage then, Helen, is what?
External audit by the 1st of July, so Aaron and I are ready to send everything off. Most of my pack is here and in there. Posters will be going up on Friday, which is the electors' rights, which starts Monday. So I think we're on track.
Thank you very much.
Great to hear. Thank you very much. Councillor Kerr.
So my congratulations and thanks to Helen and to Aaron and everybody involved in this. It does show a very strong picture. I think to have £4.5 million in reserves when you've got a turnover of about 1.5 million is a very healthy place for the town council to be, and I can't imagine there's many town councils in the country who wouldn't want to swap places with us on that basis. I have to contrast that with Shropshire Council. We're on a turnover of 250 million. I think at the end of last year they had about 10 million in reserve, so that just gives you the sort of difference between the financial solvency and good prudential management of the town council and what's happening at Shropshire Council. So I don't interrupt. I'm just talking about our
Councillor
financial
Kerr,
solvency.
One moment. Councillor Jones is raising a point of order.
I don't think it's anything to do with that. Can I finish my point, Chairman? I don't need to be interrupted. If there's a point of order, you should demonstrate which breach of the standing orders I have made, and I haven't made any breach. I'm contrasting the financial prudence and management of the town council with the other council in this area, which is Shropshire Council.
Could you keep it
And I
as brief
finished
as
that.
possible, though,
Yeah,
Councillor
I finished.
Kerr? Thank you. Right. Councillor Jones.
Yeah, it's a good report. I'm just a little bit concerned about the increase in the wages. Do you think we've got a hold on this, Aaron, town clerk, and that we'll be a little bit lower next year?
Yeah, it is, you know, becoming a bigger organisation when there's a national pay award. It's, you know, you're duty bound to pay that, and that contributed to almost £50,000 increase. Yeah. So, because you've got, you know, a lot of staff, and there's 20% on top of those as well. There's also the pension strain this year contribution, which you're aware of, which we've covered off. So, yeah, we're obviously very careful with your money. We haven't increased staffing, and yeah, no plans to do so next year either.
Yeah. And some costs are just unavoidable, aren't they? But there are people, so worth investing in. Anybody else, or I'll move we adopt. Seconded by Councillor Upton. All in favour? Thank you.
Just bear with us a second while we do the honours. Thank you. That's that one.
Okay.
Just two more.
Oh, more signing.
Yeah. Last one.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Take your glasses off.
Of course, English isn't my strong point, so it literally could be anything.
Thank you. Yeah, that was my
Item 9 then, sundry creditors, to adopt the below statements of accounts approved for payment by nominated members, copies attached. Comments, questions? Nope. Move on block, seconded. All in favour? Thank you. Nothing, no, don't need to sign those, do I? No. Okay, item 10 then is a report from the Finance Officer. Analysis of car parking, income and usage for the year gone. So quarter 4, am I right?
yes.
Quarter 4 of 2023.
No,
No?
up to March of this year.
Oh, yeah, sorry, of course, financial year. Up to March this year. Any comments or questions on that? Oh, sorry, Aaron, do you want to introduce that one as well?
Yeah, just to give a bit of an overview on that one. The figures are lower this year than last year, and I think it probably reflects a very wet January and February. What we have got, and it isn't reflected in these reports, but the income for the full year is higher than previous year. So the income on the Horse Market car park is up by 4,000 on 22-23, on Smithfield car park by 9,000 on 22-23, and on Central by 4,000. Obviously, quarter 4 has been a difficult one, so it slightly skews how you might look at it. So positive overall, but a very difficult winter.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Councillor Coburn.
Just looking at the Smithfield figures, they're very similar throughout to the earlier quarter, but then the last couple of weeks in March just plummets down, whereas in the previous 2 weeks it was shooting up. Was there a free parking event that week or something?
Wasn't it the fair? Was it?
It's the fair.
Okay.
It's the fair, so they hold a fair over the week, and they do give us a contribution. But yes, yeah, that's why the figures show that.
2 weeks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, over a weekend, a long weekend.
Yeah, and it fell slightly later this year, so that there hasn't, on that graph, that there hasn't been the same time to show recovery as there was in the previous year, where it recovered very quickly. So, okay. Anyone else? Oh, we note those then. All in favour? Thank you. And then the markets, 10B, to note the report there.
So a similar theme, Mr. Mayor. Trading has been difficult during the winter, and we've had many wet Wednesdays and Saturdays where traders haven't been trading. The products trading on markets now are a little bit more delicate, and so and there's fewer people around and fewer traders. So it has been challenging over the winter, and I think it would be worth looking at whether we hold markets over January, because we struggle to get traders and they struggle to get customers. So it may be something that we have a think about in the future. What I would say is that also reflects a little bit of the focus we've had on marketing the indoor market, which is performing strongly. We've improved the web, and we will obviously put in the successful UK SPF application and are delivering that. So we do now, and we do recognise this as a staff team, need to shift our focus a little bit more to the outdoor market. Aware that there was some criticism over the last couple of weeks of the outdoor market and things on the Bailey Head. We are very mindful of that. We are putting a little bit more comms capacity into the outdoor market, but it's also important to recognise we've got some really good traders. Anybody who's been into town today would look at the quality of the traders in town. But markets are a mixture of traders. It's the very nature of them. So yeah, time to time it will be a struggle.
Okay, thank you very much for the insights again. Anyone like to speak on this? No. Okay, in that case I'll move we note. Seconded by Councillor Upton. All in favour? Thank you. Item 11 then, we've got two reports A and B from organisations that we've granted money to. So first is 1165 Oswestry Squadron of the Air Training Corps, explaining how they've spent the funding that we gave them. And then B is the Borderland Theatre Company, similarly detailing their expenditure. Any comments? No. I'll move we note those then. All in favour? Thank you. Okay, item 12, to review the Council's publication scheme as set out in Appendix D. Aaron, do you want to?
Nothing
No.
to add on this one. It's a periodic review, one or two very minor adjustments. Yeah, all the information's there, mainly on our website, and we'll continue to develop it.
Yeah. Okay. Councillor Upton. Move we adopt, yeah, or is it noting? Is review?
Approve.
Approve. Move we approve. Okay, I'll second that then. All in favour? Thank you. Item 13, we have a series of reports from the Town Clerk, so I'll let him speak.
You probably heard too much from me already this evening, so I will try and keep it brief. I must admit, when I started to write the report on the corporate plan update, I was slightly nervous because it was such, back in 2021 when we first developed it, and I don't know if you remember the workshops that we had, took quite some time to work through. There's some bold, ambitious plans in there. But having finished writing it, I feel quite proud of what we've all achieved. And to be fair, this report only scratches the surface. I think it highlights the outstanding actions that we've taken, it highlights the outstanding actions, so things that we haven't yet done, and there were some initial ideas that we haven't quite worked through yet. But one update I would like to give you is in relation to dog fouling, because I know that has been an action that we haven't been able to progress to member satisfaction, or the public satisfaction, to be fair. But I'd like to, this afternoon, I've had a really positive meeting with Shropshire Council, and they've developed this public protection order, and have expressed a very strong willingness to work with us in partnership and other town and parish councils to try and deal with it. So this is about communication, sharing data, and providing a partnership response. So really pleased with that. Really pleased with that. That meeting, and hopefully it will stand us in good stead going forward. So, yeah.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak on the corporate plan review and action plan? We are asked to consider it. Councillor Jones.
Town Clerk, does this mean we need to make dog owners aware that they will get prosecuted now? Is that what you're telling me? Is that what we need to tell our kind gentleman in the far corner, that we need to make people more aware? And there's a lot of, did walk down the street the other day and found some right opposite someone's doorway, right? I'm thinking, huge.
Yeah, I think the responsibility lies with Shropshire Council ultimately, but there will be some shared communications, hopefully. I think the rules have changed, and a lot of people will be caught unawares by these rule changes, such as you have to keep your dog, on a close lead on the highway. Yeah, there's quite some significant changes, and I think a lot of people will be surprised.
I think that's to be welcomed, isn't it? Okay, so if there's nothing else anyone wants to say on that, I'll just move we note. All in favour of that, noting the corporate plan review and action plan? Thank you. B is the council projects. So we have recommendations at the end of this one. To note the update and to actually appoint a successful bidder in the tendering process for the works to the indoor market. Councillor Kerr.
I'm happy to move those recommendations, but I've also got a recommendation regarding the projects. Obviously, we've got quite a long list of projects there. We've just added a cinema onto it, and pleased to see that most of them are either orange or green, but we have to recognise that we've got at least one red one in there, which is A1, which is the splash pad, and I'm moving that in view of the proposals by Severn Trent to increase water charges by some 50%, the fact that we haven't been able to make any progress on a master plan for the park, which we would need to have in place to determine the location for the splash pad, they will actually defer this project. That would mean it would sit on a list of deferred projects and no resources would be devoted to it until this council makes a decision to bring it out of deferment and then to proceed with it. That hopefully would free up resources to proceed with Lewin Mansions, the centre, and we desperately we've got that on the agenda tonight, I know, but we need to progress that, and the cinema amongst other things.
Okay, does that proposal have a seconder? Councillor Jones, would you like to speak or second?
Yeah, it comes some surprise from across the floor as they were adamant. And Councillor Jay Moore isn't here tonight because I thought it was going to happen over his dead body at one stage. So I'm keen to support it because I don't think it was ever a good idea. So I'll second it.
Thank you, Councillor. Anyone wish to speak? No? Okay. Oh, sorry. Councillor Cassin.
I think the centre has to be a priority, as it will help and change many people's lives. So I think we have to put that as a priority, and the splash park, not so much.
Okay, thank you. In that case then, all in favour... Oh, sorry. Councillor Price.
Yeah, so if that's been deferred, the money that was allocated to that project, it's just frozen, is it, or just stays in the account and can be reallocated?
We'll move the money to be allocated. By deferring, we're taking it off the list of active projects we're budgeting for and able to deliver. We're putting it onto a deferred list. When we've got space, within sufficient time, we would then look to finance it and deliver it.
Well, hang on.
Can I just
Yeah.
put just a bit of clarity on that? I think you make that decision during at the budget time. So when you review your capital budget for 24-25, you'll make a decision. Whether you want to allocate a fund to that or not. As it stands now, there'll be no, based on the instruction, there'll be no further spend against that cost centre.
Is that clear? Councillor Price? Yeah. Go on.
So,
Yeah.
so everything, all the projects that are going now, all the money's been allocated for those projects. So if somebody bought a project to the table now, could that money be put towards a new project?
I'll ask the clerk to answer that again.
Well, in theory, anything's possible, isn't it? You can change the whole lot. In theory, but it obviously depends on the discussion and debate that you're having around the table and the decisions that you make. There are money against most of these projects, but not all of them. We take them stage by stage. So, yeah.
Right. I saw Councillor Owen first, and then I'll come to Councillor Rose. Sorry.
I just feel like this is quite a big decision. It's something that's gone on for 3-4 years now. I feel like, especially given the time that we are in, at least this month, it shouldn't be a decision made just out of the blue on a project. It should be its own motion agreed at the next meeting following the general election, where nothing can be party political in any form. I feel like it is a big decision for or against this project. It's got its merits, it's got its sort of people who are against it. We shouldn't be making massive decisions this council meeting.
Thank you, Councillor Owen. Councillor Rose.
Mine was more to do with what Councillor Price said, that there's still money unallocated in the windfall money, so it's not that that project was going to take the last bit of money anyway. There's a lot more that hasn't been allocated to anything, so it's not really relevant whether we use it or not, because there's plenty more there.
Thank you. I've got Councillor Upton.
Yeah, mine's similar to Councillor Owens. We've been talking about this for 3 years now, and yes, whilst it is regrettable what has happened in Welsh Walls, we have to look at the bigger impact of it as well. So especially since the main proposer of it isn't here tonight. So really, we should make that decision later on. We shouldn't be making any surprise decisions now.
Councillor Davis.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
thank you, Chair.
Sorry,
The
Josh.
proposal was from Councillor Kearns, seconded by Councillor Jones, so shouldn't that go to vote?
After discussion, yeah, I'm wanting to allow as many people as possible to speak on it first. Sorry, Councillor Coburn, I did have you written down and I just skipped you.
No problem at all. I think that to defer it is not a big decision. Nothing is being proposed that means it couldn't happen in the fullness of time. And certainly I would be keen for something in some format similar to the splash pad to go ahead when we have the resources to devote to it. I think this proposal is merely saying with limited officer time, it is better spent on things like the centre, which are a more urgent requirement, whereas the splash pad can happen at any time. So I don't feel like this is the council saying, that's it, bye-bye splash pad. We're just saying we would like the officers to prioritise the centre and fluid mansions where urgent action is required over a decision that needs to be made properly and with full discussion and full consideration.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Price?
Yeah, I like the way that it now sort of opens everything up. But can I just remind people that there's not always plenty left in the pot, especially after spending £500,000. Okay.
Thank you. I think we ought to, move to the vote now. Councillor Kerr, you may sum up.
I think, as Councillor Coburn said, what we're trying to do is to identify where we need to prioritise officer resources. The reality is, in the last 8 months since we made a decision that we needed a specification and master plan for the park, we haven't made any progress on that at all. So if anybody wanted, and I've had that report in front of them at every meeting since then, so at any time since then, they could have moved that resources was allocated or directed to progress on that, and nobody has done. If nothing happens now, I suspect in 8 months' time, we still will not made any progress on that. Now, we'll either just manage that in a sort of closing our eyes and hoping for the best, or we actually give clear direction to the clerk and say, we recognise we haven't got the resources to progress. And that's the easy part of it, because doing a master plan for the park is relatively straightforward. Actually, and we know this because we went through a tendering exercise and we failed to appoint a contractor, actually working out the best option that we can afford to run a splash park is very difficult, and it seems to have got worse because of the building costs and the running costs since then. So it will require an awful lot of expertise. Now, if people want to prioritise, that's fine, but they're going to have to say where the money comes from. They're going to have to find other things to stop us doing and then say this is more important than that, so stop doing the centre or stop doing Lewin Mansions and devote your resources to this. We can't just continue, have lots of plates spinning and wonder why one of them gets dropped. It's unfair to the clerk and it's unfair to the officers. So as Councillor Coburn, all it's saying is take it off the active list, put it on the deferred list, don't spend any more money on it now, deal with the other matters, and when we've got a bit of space, we can then look at bringing it back in. And that's all I mean by deferment. So I now move to the vote, Chairman.
Thank you. That was the summing up. I did give a lot of opportunities to speak, but I am not, this vote will not be on the other recommendations on the report, because I want to deal with those separately. So this is just on the deferral, because I'm not sure that we've considered the tender adequately. So just on the deferral of the Splash Park project, all in favour? Any against? 1, 2, 3, 4 against, and I'll record an abstention. Thank you.
So just for clarity, there will be, in addition to the list, there'll be things that we're progressing, red, amber, green, things that we've delivered, and things that have been deferred. So it will be presented at every meeting, as all our other projects are.
Okay, so we'll move back to the original recommendations of the report. Members are asked to note the report, but also we are appointing a contractor to carry out the works on the indoor market as specified in the tender documents.
So I just explain what that work is. So it is to give us professional support and capacity to deliver the improvements that we've identified. We've followed a rigorous tender process. You can see through the evaluation, you can see the reach that we've had. All I'm really asking you to do is sign off the process. It's robust and will help us move forward.
Councillor Davis.
Yeah, just with the market one, I haven't seen exactly everything we're doing, but you did say the quiet time was January. If it's going to disturb the traders or the market, can we look at the disturbance that happens in maybe January, where you just say it's shut for a month and crack on and do it?
Yeah, good point.
I'm hopeful that the majority of the work will be able to be done with the traders in situ, so access. The big challenge is the internal floor, and looking how we improve that and what that means. And I suspect it may mean a little bit of moving around and some changes in there. So we're going to have to do that very carefully. So yeah, and the work of the market, the liaison group that we have will be very important to keep those involved. So yeah, absolutely. Thank you for your comments.
Okay. All in favour of accepting those recommendations? I'll move. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Ollie. All in favour of noting the update and accepting tender A? Thank you. That's unanimous. Right. 13C is the risk register. Any comments or questions?
Apologies again. So just to let you know that we've included a couple of additional risks this time. One which recognises the financial pressure that Shropshire Council are under, and the need for us as an organisation to consider that and consider that what it means for Oswestry residents. As I said, I've been involved in a meeting today. There will be a survey coming out which will ask you what you're interested in, whether there is any interest locally to have services devolved. I know councillors have been keen to consider particular open spaces, so we're beginning to have those conversations, but it'd be wrong if it wasn't recorded on the risk register, because you know the amount of work that goes into them and the risk that poses.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Kerr.
To add to that, I mean, the news from today that the potential threat to organisations like Open Space, so that ought to be folded into that, because if Shropshire Council feel they have to charge a commercial rent, that's got implications for the voluntary sector, and Oswestry certainly needs to be encompassed in that risk.
Thank you. Any other comments to make on there or questions for the clerk? No? I'll move we note then. All in favour? Thank you. And D is to discuss honorary awards, the process for the appointment of honorary freemen and free women in report attached. So this is to talk about the process, not the actual nominations. So there's a full report there. Who would like to start us off? Okay, Councillor Kerr.
Me speaking a lot. I'm happy with the process. My understanding is, have we got 5 freemen at the moment? I'm looking at Aaron, is that right? And 4 men, 1 woman, is that right?
It's a poignant thing for this to be on the agenda with the passing of Richard Beam. But
I would propose that we include a statement to the effect that women are underrepresented in this role, and we would welcome applications, particularly from women or from people nominating women for this post. or to become free women.
Thank you. Councillor Chadwick.
Oh, well, I was just going to make a comment that actually we need to get rid of these gendered titles. We're supposed to be becoming an inclusive council, and we're using gendered titles again. And you can frown all you like, Frank.
Hang on. Can I come in on that, councillor? Sorry to interrupt, but it's legal. That is the specification under law. So
yeah, I'll be honest. I've changed this report several times, but it comes from the Local Government Act 1972,
it's an old law.
which says you can appoint free men or free women. It doesn't give you any designation to appoint anybody else. Now, whether you wish to change that a little bit and adjust it, that's your, that's for you to do. I can only give you what's written in law. I can't give you anything else.
Oh, fair enough.
Well, okay. I mean, I would argue, obviously, because I do, but actually, sexuality and gender are protected titles above law. So actually, if somebody was nominated to that position that was that didn't identify as male or female, but actually you'd have to create a title. So why is that? Why are we not? Is that provision not there anyway?
Yeah. Thank you, Councillor Radford.
Can we simply not put a statement that you would put under any job advert that says we would welcome applications from those underrepresented within our community? And that's a standard statement that you get in the bottom of any job application from most corporate environments, and it's a legal statement, it's appropriate, that opens it out to anybody whatsoever without specifying.
Yeah, Councillor Rose. Thank you.
And can we just call them free people, free persons?
Sorry,
Councillor Kerr,
can we not call them free persons and then put in brackets under the Local Government Act free men or free women, close brackets? But the town council calls these free people free persons. And in terms of the Councillor Radford, I don't think people will know that there's a shortage of women. There's an imbalance at the moment. So I think if we're going to say, and rather than just saying we welcome all applications, clearly we do, we need to say that some groups are underrepresented, and that was the reason why I've drawn particular attention to it, so people know and they know that they wouldn't have that. So it's good.
Councillor Radford.
We're underrepresented in everything, women, anybody. So we do need a general statement that covers everybody. I don't think you need to specify one of our protected characteristics when there are 9 in total.
Okay. Any other comments? I mean, I don't think we've had a formal proposal as such, but Councillor Coburn.
I echo Councillor Kerr's idea that we could have our own gender-neutral thing with noting that the legislation would say free men, free women. And I think that Councillor Chadwick's point about the Gender and Sexuality Act, we are bound by those as much as we are bound by the 1972 Local Government Act, so we have to be in accordance with both of them. However, I think free people is an absolutely appalling title. If we're going to do that, we need to think of a better gender-neutral title.
But we have to balance it with the public understanding what it is that.
Free citizens?
So this clearly can be part of the process. Councillor Upton.
I've taken on board everyone's comments here, but given that this is a title that is conferred by law, should we be discussing this until after the election?
Aaron, can I ask you, what is the legal status of the title itself? If we confer this honour onto a citizen, do they legally have to be known as a free man or a free woman specifically, or can we use our own title, or does that need looking into?
So, yeah, I think we can give it. So you have a legal power, and defined in law that says you can appoint a free man or a free woman. Okay, so that's what the legal power gives you to do. It doesn't give you the legal power to do anything else. What you call them, I suppose, is up to you. They don't have, and I think there's a danger of overcomplicating this a little bit, because they don't have any powers. They get an award, they come to the civic to Remembrance Sunday, and they're invited to the civic dinner. I think that's the long and short of it. So what if you want to come up with an expression, then we'll go with that.
Okay, hang on. I've got Councillor Owen.
Obviously, there's not been a proposal. Could we move, if I propose this, that we move this to the next meeting to look into the legal question of whether we can actually define them as what we want, rather than just making a decision saying we can, then finding out we can't after the decision's being made?
Right, I had Councillor Chadwick. So are you making that a motion?
Good, yes.
Okay, do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Upton? Councillor Chadwick, you had your hand up next.
I mean, I appreciate what Aaron's saying about how they don't have powers and things like that, but actually, how somebody identifies and the gender title that you give them is important to that person. So if you're then, bestowing upon them about this honour, about representing the town, but then actually you're then going to give them a misgendered title, that's important. That's important to that person. Like,
It is. Councillor Jones?
Could I suggest we make him an honorary Oswestrian?
Honorary Oswestrian?
Does that make sense? Because that doesn't make any gender. It's an Oswestrian who has done a good bit for the town.
Well,
completes everything.
Does that have a seconder? Okay. Councillor Owen, you've moved to defer the discussion till the next meeting based on the legal implications. Would you still like that voted on, or would you like to withdraw?
I'd amend it to say that can we have Free Oswestrian as a title? Like, we shouldn't be making a decision that could possibly go against law until we know that we can make it. So we defer it, get the legal advice, come back and make that decision once we actually know, rather than...
We've got a
Hang on,
proposed title and
hang on.
check the legality.
Through the chair, please. Councillor Kerr.
The reality is we can make the title the honorary Oswestrian, I like it, but we say on the title this encompasses free man, free woman under the Local Government Act, and that's written into the documentation. We can call it what we like. We haven't committed any offence in calling it what we like. It's just that the actual piece of paper they receive will have the legal title on it for the avoidance of doubt. That's perfect. And looking at the clerk, that's perfectly lawful. We haven't got to use the language of the legislation at all times. We just have to make it clear that in giving this title in the subtext, that language appears. But we don't ever have to use it ourselves. Is that right?
Yes, so you're doing it, and you're using the powers to appoint free men and free women in the Local Government Act, but you're going to call them...
Honorary Oswestrians. I like it. Yeah. I mean, the idea of getting a solicitor, because obviously the clerk's not legally qualified, you can go to a private solicitor and that will cost us a lot of money, and it's just, the reality is we have the power to do that. We do it in other areas and just get on with it.
Councillor Owen, I'm looking to you. We can vote on your motion if you would still like. He has had a seconder, yeah. I was just wondering, based on the second proposal, whether... Okay, so could you just clarify...
I just want to propose we have the suggestion that we call it a honorary Oswestrian, just to we bring it back, clarify that we can do that in the wording that we need to, and then make that the motion at the next meeting. And as long as Jonathan as the seconder agrees to that.
I think what that will also enable us to do is, just checking Sunday, we give a badge, don't we, of office. And I can't remember what they... We can change the scroll relatively easily, but I'm not sure what the badges of office say. So it gives us a chance to check that and give you any cost implications as well, doesn't it?
Yeah? Okay, all in favour then? Any against? Okay, sorry, could you raise your hands for against again?
Having the principle that you like the term honorary Oswestrian, but just ask for me to bring a report back in July for you to just to confirm that everything's okay with it. Basically.
That's why any issue about this. By the time it goes out in August, and they've got
Well-
nominations in by September.
Okay. But all in favour of that proposal made by Councillor Owen? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All against? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's
Abstentions.
I'll abstain. So 5, 7 for, 5 against, 1 abstention, carried. Okay. For the rest of the process then, could you summarise that for me, please, Aaron?
Relatively straightforward. Nominations come in. You say whether you're willing to accept them. We go back to then we contact the individuals concerned to say you've been nominated. Would you accept it to avoid any embarrassment? And then you finally approve it. And then there are some possibilities to adjust the timescale. It's not set in stone. Just need to do it before the election, really.
So the proposal is that the nomination should be received by the Town Clerk by the 30th of September 2024. That's the essential date.
I can adjust it.
Okay, so should we say closing date to be confirmed? Yeah. But broadly speaking, the report and the process, is everyone happy with?
I don't know what happened to my recommendation regarding, and the statement I was taken by the comments that Rosie made regarding the declaration of we're seeking people from underrepresented groups
Oh yes.
to appear.
So
I'm happy to go along with that if that's the wish of the committee, but I think you need something to encourage, to
Yeah.
achieve feedback.
within the advertising for the, yeah. So in addition to the process as stated, that any advertising for the nominations states that it's fully inclusive. It makes clear the legal names, but encourages, makes it clear that anyone is welcome to be nominated. Is that basically what the proposal was stating? Yeah.
Going through the chair? Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All in favour? Thank you very much. Right. That was D. Item 14 is report from the operations manager on the estates.
Single item issue, Mr Mayor, which is about a proposal, and it's based on the discussion we had at Council last month, which is a recommended trial period of 12 weeks, starting as soon as we can, to have in the changing places facility the accessible toilet and 2 other cubicles available for public use until 10 p.m. And to manage that, we will work with the local security firm that we already work with to cover the cost of closing those and securing them. I think that's in line with the wishes of council, and we can bring feedback and recommendations after the trial.
Thank you. Councillor Owen.
I'd just like to propose that we do accept the recommendation. I think 10 p.m. is a very good time as far as a matter of when things close. At the weekend, when things are open later, the pubs do have their own toilets, and therefore the public toilets aren't needed as much, but it allows for most retail things to have closed, and it gives people, especially with disabilities and medical conditions that urgently need to go to a bathroom, can use our facilities, and they'll be clean, and that's the most important thing.
Thank you. Councillor Upton.
I'll second that. 10 p.m. is a perfectly suitable time.
Okay. Councillor Jones.
Can I ask a question of the town clerk? what sort of cleaning cost is it costing us now? Not just about this item, but generally. Oh, so, no, I wasn't asking about that. Generally, because one of the things of redoing the toilets was to save quite a bit on cleaning. Are we achieving that? It's not on this report, obviously, but I just...
No, it wasn't necessarily on cleaning, because it was primarily to save costs on repairs, because it would cost to repair, and energy costs, a lot of energy costs. So we've got a service level agreement in place. It's the same standard of cleans. I don't recall the exact details, but they split their time between English Walls and the park. So, yeah.
Councillor Rose.
I was just, because that date, the 17th of June, is very soon, I'm just wanting to make sure that we fully let everyone know that it's changed. Otherwise, we're not doing a very good survey if everyone thinks they're shut at 4 now because they don't know.
We're keen to promote what we do. So we've got a comms resource working well. So absolutely do the best that we can to get the information out there to people.
Okay, so it's been proposed and seconded that we accept the recommendation of the report. All in favour? Thank you. Right. Sorry, yeah, Councillor Price. See you again soon. All the best. Item 15, report from the Project Development Officer on the Youth Forum budget. Really nice report, detailing all the projects that the young people on the forum are proposing to fund with their budget. So, yeah, really pleased to see this one coming forward. Would anyone like to speak? I mean, I'd like to. I know some of these ideas and projects are at a fairly early stage, but to invite some of the folks on the forum to come and speak to us about them when they feel ready, that they could come and sort of give us a little bit of an overview of what they're wanting to do. No pressure, but I think it'd just be nice to have the youth forum and the council interact, and we can hear directly from them what their plans entail.
I wasn't being rude reading
No.
my emails, Mr. Mayor. I have invited the young people to start to attend the youth partnership panel. I think they find that a little bit of a safer place, and I just had a response from Jess from SYA. I saw it flicking across the screen. So I think they're going to try. I think they'd like to be part of the youth partnership panel permanently. I think it's a little bit harder to come to council at the moment, but I think that'll be work in progress.
Great. Okay. Would anyone else like to speak on the report? There are some recommendations. Councillor Rose.
Just think it's amazing. I think they've done really well, that group of young people. I've met them a couple of times, and I think they've just done really well to take the time, and they were very considered about making sure they were including other people who didn't come, and different groups of young people. So I think it's brilliant.
Yeah. Okay. So we are being asked to recommend to support the above outlines discussed by the young people and their progress towards budget spend. Are we all happy to do so? I'll propose. Councillor Rose seconding. All in favour? Great, thank you. So item 16, report from the Markets and Events Officer, the Markets Update.
Not a great deal to add from David's report. I think it highlights the improvements we've made in publicity and promotion in particular. And we are going to do a little bit further by attracting, I'll be able to tell you on Friday, we've attracted a really good tenant to the indoor market, which will be a draw and safeguards local service provision, but I can't tell you yet. in public session because it hasn't been signed. But I think, I think the commitment to the indoor market in particular has been positive. We're going through the consultation on the murals. I'd encourage you all to have a look and encourage people to take part. But I think it just goes to show the whole scale of what we do here. We do, as I said earlier, we do really need to recognise, and we are recognising the need to put a little bit more investment into the outdoor market, a bit more focus, attracting more traders, and you know, we've had a positive day today. It's drawing people in. Some really good traders in the town, and I think Oswald Street benefits quite a lot from what this council does.
Absolutely. Would anyone like to speak? Councillor Coburn.
I think just use the opportunity to emphasise the mural consultation. I think having looked at them myself, there's some excellent artists and I'd be happy with any of them, but there's some significant differences in the styles they adopt, and I think it would be welcome for our public to have as much input into that as possible, because they do look different from each other, and it's one where people will have an opinion, and I think they should share their opinion.
Yeah, during the consultation. Yeah, that would be good. Okay. Councillor Jones.
Yeah, just looking through the list of events that are taking place soon. You know, it's just making people aware. You know, the old Facebook mantra says nothing goes on in Oswald Street, and then you see a whole list of things that are going on. Most of them are free. It's just trying to get the word out on the street, really. I mean, it's, you know, the Food and Drink Festival is always a fantastic day. The Bulgarian, I've never been to that, but it always looks very good on the internet when I've seen it. And, you know, things like the balloon carnival, just massive, isn't it? So it's good for Oswald Street, so keep the good work going.
Yeah, thank you. Councillor Davis.
Yeah, just following on from that, I've had a lot of people saying how much they enjoyed the sand in the Red Square that weekend when the sandpit was there. And the children were loving it. I mean, it just brought loads of people that I walked through, and it's had real good feedback, that has.
Yeah, it just shows the partnerships and the collaborations between all the different organisations who contribute to these things, doesn't it? Okay, are we just noting that report? Move we note then. All in favour? Thank you. Item 17, the Oswald Street Town Charities. We need to consider the appointment of nominative trustees to Oswald Street Town Charities. What's the situation at the moment, Aaron?
So we have two nominations, being Councillor Stackhouse on the town charities. You sit on it as a trustee. Councillor Jones and I have had a conversation, but there's still a Sandra's giving me the finger. I could have worded that better. There is a vacancy. I think quite a few councillors have had a go. It is a charity that does great work, and we do need support. You put a lot of admin into it through me and colleagues. So it would be good to have your support on it. It's 2 meetings a year.
So how many nominations do we need? Sorry, one.
Doesn't have to be a councillor.
I mean, volunteers would be lovely, or we can look outside of the council. Yeah.
Yeah, you found a very good trustee from outside the council. Perhaps you know some more. You might be good for the council to choose. Who's knowledgeable about buildings and housing and this kind of thing.
You'll have to approve that nomination. But the feeling I'm getting around the room is that I don't think anybody's going to volunteer for this one. Is that right? So it just helps me move forward.
Jones not want to do it if he's had a discussion or not?
Okay, so
Is it worth just saying it's me that stood down? I took it on. I was worried about the management of the trust. I think it's now on a much more stable keel. We've got some excellent external trustees who've come on board. So although there is a commitment to it, I think it's very rewarding work, but I think it's quite a stable organisation. Now, the clerk can say if he feels differently, but I think it's a mile away from where it was 2 years ago.
Okay, so no volunteers here, so we can look elsewhere. Okay. Item 18, the Marches Energy Agency. We've got to consider the scheme and report at Appendix F.
Yeah, just very keen to tie up the loose ends on this project. It lasted a lot longer than we thought, but you can see the benefits that it made. So you've got the deliverables there. So it's just a case of noting it at this point. I am going to start sharing this work with other people to let them know what we've done, because I don't think many people have provided free loft insulation schemes. So it's a credit to this council that you did so.
Okay, would anyone like to speak on this? I'll move my note then. All in favour? Any abstentions? One abstention. Okay. Next up is the NALC Draft Biodiversity Net Gain Guidance. So,
I'm just trying to remind myself why I put it on the agenda. Oh, I think I put it on the agenda just to give you a little bit of insight into some of the issues that we need to consider as part of the planning process. So it's there for noting. I sit on the National Climate Change Network. There's only one or two clerks on it. It's been developed through that forum. But you'll have seen from the planning application you considered a couple of committees ago, the work that Star Housing had done on their biodiversity net gain statement. But the aim is to give you a little bit of information so that you're well equipped when we're considering planning applications in the future.
okay, yeah, thank you for bringing the report forward. Does anyone wish to speak on it? No? I'll move we note that one then. All in favour? Thank you. Okay. We now come to item 20, the exclusion of the public and press. Good to see you, Peter. So I'll move that by the Public Bodies Admission to Meetings Act 1960 and in accordance, etc., that we exclude members of the public and press. Do I have a seconder? Thank you. All in favour? Thank you very much.